everybody, welcome to Art Journaling Online with Chrysalis. My name is Jenny. This is part 3, and what we did in part 2 was sponging acrylic paint into our art journal on some paper here with the words rejoice in the hope. So we were looking at the word hope, and I just came across this magazine in my mailbox. It's a subscription magazine, but any magazine is a great place to start when you're looking for some pictures to paste down in your art journal. I found a hand reaching out. I'm going to make that hand look really much more obvious. I also found this paper. It was wrapping paper, and it's very bright and colourful, and so I've started going with a theme of how we might be feeling when we're stuck inside and we're not able to go outside and socialize with other people, and how it might be affecting us. So this page started becoming really obvious to me that it was dark and gloomy, but there is hope in this page, even though it's a very dark page. And so I wanted to concentrate on the word hope and how that the way we think about things can be transformed if we have a positive mindset and we think about what are the good things about being in the house and not being allowed to go outside. How can we turn that situation for positive, and think about skill sets that we could develop while we're indoors, like doing art. This was not something I thought about before I started. It was something that came to me as I was sticking down pieces of paper, and that's something that can happen for you too. You can just randomly pick anything in a magazine and something may start emerging from the choices that you're making initially. And that's the wonderful thing about doing art journaling. It's not something that you think about or plan necessarily. It's something that develops in the process, and it can trigger certain feelings while you're doing art journaling, and it becomes a progression. Like life is a process. We never really know what the outcomes are, and sometimes we can't see into the future, but as we walk through life or art journaling, things become more obvious to us, and we learn from the process as well as we go through life or go through art journaling. So to me, art journaling is like life in lots of ways. So today we're going to be looking at stenciling, but not in the true stencil. This is a stencil that you can buy off Amazon, or any art store would have them, or Michael's, but they're quite expensive. And I wanted to have a focus on reusable items and items that we can recycle, or items that we can just find around. So I have some cling wrap here, so I will be using cling wrap today. Got any kind of bottle caps, that would be great to use. I have a cork, and remember I mentioned too that you can go to the reuse centre in Edmonton, and it's a wonderful way of collecting reusable materials to use in your art as well. It's very, very affordable. You can get a big box of fill it right up and only pay $5, and you can get all sorts of things, books and magazines and reusable things and cards and calendars, and those things are wonderful for art journaling too, because it's pictures that we sometimes want to cut out and paste into our book. So the reuse centre is a really fantastic resource for art journaling, and it's very cost effective. I have a card here too that I might use for stenciling. I have a fork here. I'm going to give that a try. It will be a bit of an experiment today with the fork. I have a Q-tip. You might have this also in one of your cupboards. And I also have some bubble wrap. Actually can buy this for about $1 at the dollar store or the Dollarama store. They do sell bubble wrap there as well. So it's wonderful ways of creating a stencil effect on our pages. So we're just going to look at the colour palette for a minute. This is Prussian blue, which is really dark blue. I've mixed it with yellow to make this beautiful greeny colour. I mixed it with white to make it a lighter blue, and yellow and white as well to make a really light yellow. So these are the colours I'm working with. And I want a colour balance over my two pages. So one's really dark and one's really light. So I'm going to get my Q-tip and balance up the colour on this page by adding some of the colour from the other page. So I'm using that greeny colour right now with my Q-tip, creating a colour page balance. And now I'm coming in with my Q-tip and I'm using yellow on this page. So I'm bringing in the yellow from the other page into this darker page so that we get a beautiful spread where everything's fitting together. So here's the bubble wrap using some yellow on this page, and now I'm using bubble wrap to use some of that green on this page. So again, I'm doing color balance. I'm using the cork now to create some more stencil effects, using that green on that side and some dark blue on this side, again creating color balance between the two pages. So here I'm just trying to create a harmony between the two pages by using color balance. Here is my cling wrap. It's giving some interesting texture there. And so I'm coming in with a fork. I've just dipped it into that dark blue, Prussian blue, creating some dots effects, and I'm doing some scratching now. Be very careful not to scratch too hard so you don't want to tear any paper underneath or tear your page. That's giving it interesting texture too. This was an experiment. And now I'm coming in with my bottle cap, my milk bottle cap, dipping in some white, again creating some color balance between the two pages, some harmony and unity between the two pages. Card now, just here using some patterns, and I'm smoothing and using the side of the card to smear the paint and get some more interesting texture there as well. So I'm going to do some dry sponging. So my sponge is dry and I'm going to dip it into my paint. Not very much paint on my sponge at all. This is why it's called dry sponging. Because my page is looking so busy, I just want to tone it down a little bit by sponging over my patterns here. And this way I'm really toning down the busyness and making it look a little bit less complex to look at, a little bit more peaceful to look at, I guess. Now with some paper towel and some water, not too much water, I'm going to rub back some of the paint. So a good thing about gluing and covering your piece of paper with a lot of glue is that it resists water quite well. So I'm just outlining the fingers on this hand, making it a little bit more obvious so I can see it more clearly. And I'm going to use a Q-tip with some water on it just to neaten up those edges a bit. And then I'm going to come in and with a black on my paintbrush and fill in all those lines just to make this hand stand out even more. So this is what my page is looking like now. I've done my hand and made it look very clear, filling it in with black. I've rubbing bits of paint away just so I can see the words a little bit more easily. And there we have it. So what we covered today was color balance and stenciling using reuse items, and we talked about positive thinking. I hope you enjoyed part 3 of art journaling, and you will join me again for part 4. See you soon. Bye for now.